Hi, I'm Superintendent Doug Van Zyl. This is Everything to Know in 194, where District Administration will give you updates on what's happening in our school district. Today you'll be hearing from a few of our district leaders regarding the district finances and how the new READ Act legislation is being implemented in Lakeville Area Schools.
When we look at our current budget, we can see we've come a long way from last year's $7 million in budget cuts. We ended fiscal year 23 below 1% in our fund balance. Anticipate ending the current fiscal year 24, at a 2% fund balance. Although last year's budget cuts were difficult, it allows us to get to the place we are today. We have a balanced budget and we are not operating in a deficit. Although we've turned a corner from where we were last year at this time, we must remain conservative in our approach. The Lakeville area community expects to see significant residential growth in the foreseeable future. Our total pre-K-12 student enrollment is conservatively projected to grow more than 21% in the next decade. With this residential growth comes enrollment growth, which simultaneously brings additional funding as well as additional costs. Along the state's historic investment in public education, the state required a historic number of new mandates that are either partially funded, temporarily funded, or entirely unfunded. Some of these new mandates include the READ Act, which is only partially funded by the state of Minnesota, also new summer unemployment, which is also only partially funded by the state of Minnesota, and the Paid Family Leave Act, which is not funded by the state at all. While our district is in good position with these new mandates, we must continue to remain vigilant with our budget, as there is a lot up in the air in regards to funding through the state of Minnesota. I also want to point out that Lakeville Area Schools isn't the only district in the state facing these budget concerns. In fact, more than 70% of metro area districts are reporting facing budget deficits due to these new mandates. Historic inflation, staffing shortages, federal COVID funding coming to an end, and failed referendums. While we're able to make adjustments to our budgets last year and are not currently operating in a deficit, we must continue to monitor our finances closely. One of the new state mandates is, of course, the READ Act. And here to talk about that is Sandy Giorgi, our district's Director of Elementary Teaching and Learning.
Thank you, Bill. The Minnesota Reading to Ensure Academic Development Act, commonly referred to as the READ Act, was passed on May 24, 2023. This new legislation focused on districts using evidence-based instruction, so every Minnesota child reads at or above grade level every year beginning in kindergarten. It also supports multilingual learners and students receiving special education services in achieving their individualized reading goals. Prior to the READ Act legislation, Lakeville Area Schools had already taken proactive steps to prepare for these shifts by implementing the most up-to-date evidence-based reading instruction and assessment practices. The majority of our elementary teachers have started incorporating structured literacy practices in their reading instruction, utilizing strategies that align with the science of reading. Significant time and resources are needed to some areas that we are navigating as we implement the READ Act effectively. As part of the READ Act, teachers are required to participate in 60 hours of robust professional learning that focuses on evidence-based science of reading practices. Starting with the 2024-25 school year, 5 additional non-school days have been added for elementary students so teachers can collaboratively participate in this training. By using these added non-school days for professional development, no additional working hours are needed to be added to teacher contracts, allowing the district to conserve funds. This is critical as funding from the state of Minnesota only partially covers the cost of the significant shift in instruction. Despite the challenges presented by the READ Act, our incredible teachers and staff are more than up to the task, and we are excited for the benefits this legislation will bring, including opportunities to utilize high-quality resources and best practices in literacy instruction, the ability to customize these practices for whole group instruction as well as targeted small group instruction, and most importantly, improve reading skills and comprehension for all students.
Thank you, Bill and Sandy, for those updates. That's what you need to know in 194 today. Thank you for your continued support, and we'll see you next month.